city of the unwritten. A city that's given so much. A city of people who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty. A city of makers, entrepreneurs, musicians, artists. A city of laughter, memories, and people who will welcome others in with a cup of heartwarming handmade coffee. A city of people, young and old, working together. People who explore, live, and grow together. But what makes this place special? Being listed year after year as one of the best places to raise a family. Maybe because we have a community recognized for its safe neighborhoods and revered for its low unemployment. A city where adventure is everywhere you look, where you can pioneer your own story. We've opened a new page to write on for the generations ahead. Welcome to Bismarck. Come write your story.
All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy 1 Million Cups Wednesday. My name is Tyler DeMars. I'll be your MC this morning. Good to see everybody out, and good to see everybody talking and networking right into our program here. That's always good to see with our program. So, how many first-timers here this morning? Anybody new to 1 Million Cups? A few of you? Few? Okay, great. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Hope you got your coffee mug out there and that we'll see you back again. But if you are new to 1 Million Cups, you might be asking yourself, what are we doing here? Why do we get together every Wednesday morning at Dakota Stage Theater? So 1 Million Cups is a networking and professional development program that we organize here at Dakota Stage Theater. We're putting a different small business owner, entrepreneur, nonprofit founders or leaders like we have today, sometimes event organizers, basically anybody doing interesting or good work in Bismarck, Mandan, and the surrounding areas. We give them the stage for the morning, have them get up here, tell their story, talk about the vision they have for what they're trying to accomplish, maybe some of the challenges they're facing, and then we do a Q&A session with them, have a community conversation, kind of act as a collective sounding board for that individual or for that group. The idea is we want to connect them to resources, maybe give them some insights they haven't thought of, trying to build an ecosystem around them, giving them the best chance they have to succeed. So that's our goal here every week. And the takeaway, the question we're asking every week is, can we change the face of our startup community by connecting local entrepreneurs over 1 million cups of coffee? Hence, 1 million cups. So first off, thanks to our sponsors. These are organizations that support our program here. We don't have a lot of expenses with 1 Million Cups. It's mostly run by volunteers, but we do have a few things we need to pay for. So these organizations help us with that by cutting us some checks. University of Mary is our only Grande sponsor. You'll notice we have quite a bit of room on this slide if anybody else or your organization is interested in supporting 1 Million Cups. And then more of our tall sponsors here that have also written checks for the organization. So yeah, if you know folks from any of these businesses and appreciate their support for 1 Million Cups, make sure you let them know that. Of course, our last slide here includes organizations that give their people's time, sometimes might donate a piece of equipment to the cause. We have a lot of supporters of the program. We appreciate that. So like I said, after Jasmine and Mandy present today, we'll have our Q&A session. So as they're talking, make sure we're thinking about questions we want to ask them. What are we curious about? Where would we want them to dig in a little deeper? Is there anything you want them to think about a little more? So be thinking about your questions, and during the Q&A session, of course, we'll get the mic mug in your hand to ask those. Before we get started, a few community announcements. It is a National Chocolate Covered Nut Day, so we are celebrating every day with National Day calendar. Marlo, you're here this morning, right? I think I saw Marlo. You know, I give you a hard time, Marlo, because it's always National Mozzarella Stick Day, or National Pizza Day, or National French Fried Pizza Day. I know why I look like this. This one we can actually get behind. This is a treat. I mean, you can go with the regular peanut M&Ms, that's a good treat, but really, like the dark chocolate covered almond is a treat, and it's also kind of a nutritional powerhouse. So this one I can get behind, Marlo. So happy National Chocolate Covered Nut Day. All right, from the Friends of the Bismarck Public Library. So we have their spring used book sale coming up. We do, the Friends of the Library do these twice a year. This is March 5th, 6th, and 7th. An interesting event where it's a lot of donated books, some inventory turn at the library, but a lot of the books, they do board games, CDs, a lot of things are donated from the community to be sold here. And you're buying books by the pound at this event. So if you ever thought, maybe I want to buy books by the pound, this is your event. It's a really good deal, and it's $1 a pound for books. Okay, right now we're paying over $7 a pound for ground beef, and that's the 80-20 ground beef. And you use that once, you might get one meal out of it. These books, even if you don't read them, they sit on your bookshelf, they make you look well read, so you could do that. There's much more value there. So March 5th, 6th, and 7th, it supports the Friends of the Bismarck Public Library, which has done a lot of good work for an important third space in our community. Please check this event out. All right, anybody from Next Level Leadership here? Faith is.
Good morning, everyone. Back by popular demand, we have the second iteration of our Next Level Leadership Workshop. We would love to invite you all this Friday, designed for teams that are growing and face some gaps around customer service, around marketing, and around soft skills like communication. Jade from Hexahive, Jesse from Transform CX, both of whom have presented here, and myself are running this at the Chamber. We would love to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Faith. All right, next 2026 Women's Business Conference. I think I'm going to do this one. So this is a Jamestown Regional Entrepreneur Center puts this one on March 10th and 11th. There's jrecenter.com/events is where you can find more information. A good networking and professional development event that Catherine Roth organizes there in Jamestown. So if you yourself are a female entrepreneur or know of anybody who would benefit from this, please let them know. The more people we get interested in events like this, the more of them that happen. So if we need demand for them for these kind of important events to keep happening. So please check that out if you or anybody you know is interested. All right, this one's mine as well. So many of you have been here before, probably have heard of the Business Builders webinars that the SBA Resource Partners put on. So I work for the North Dakota Small Business Development Centers. We're one of the partners on this, along with all those organizations at the bottom. These Business Builder webinars are hour-long subject matter expert webinars. So we do a lot of one-on-one business advising at the SBDC, and our 12 counselors across the state try to aggregate the questions we get the most that either we don't have the expertise or the bandwidth to do a deeper dive with our clients that our clients could benefit from. So what we do is find subject matter experts who can do that deeper dive in a webinar format, and we do these monthly. So coming up here, we have Referral Network and LinkedIn for Small Businesses. April 14th, Faith, who you just heard from, and Faith has spoken on this stage. She's fantastic. She is doing Why Being Old-Fashioned in Business is Actually a Superpower. That's a very on-brand title for Faith's sensibility. And then there we have From Startup to Standout, a local North Dakota business shares their expertise. That's something organized by the SBA. So these are all coming up. Important to note, any webinar we've ever done with this Business Builders series is archived on our website at ndsbdc.org/on-demand. So a ton of really good free content that's out there for entrepreneurs and small business owners in our community. I'd encourage you to check these out. I always jump on these when I can and always benefit from them. So you can find out more information at the website there. All right, any other announcements this morning? Yes, sir.
Hello, everyone. My name is Devin Rorick. I am the owner of Plainsman Therapy, a private mental health therapy practice here in Bismarck. We're actually just a block over in the City Center Plaza building. And this Friday from 2 to 3:30, we are going to be celebrating our grand opening. We've been open now for about 8 months, but we kind of forgot to celebrate in the midst of getting everything going. And so we're going to be celebrating with some nice treats and just some fellowship. And so I would love to have anybody who's available come out, maybe after that Next Gen event for business owners. You guys can take a break and then pop over at 2 o'clock. We'd love to have you, and we'd love to just share with you guys while you come, just in the ways that we're planning on growing and helping the community. So yeah, 2 to 3:30 on Friday. Thanks.
Thank you, Devin. And congrats on your grand opening. All right, any more announcements this morning? If not, I'll just say that if you ever do have a community announcement, that email address 1mcbizman701@gmail.com is where you can send a slide if you have a slide for it. If you can be here in person to make that announcement, fantastic. If not, fill us in on a little some of the details, and we're happy to make that announcement on your behalf. All right, well, let's get to why you all came here this morning. So this morning we have Jasmine and Mandy from Bismarck Global Neighbors and the Second Home Thrift Store. Bismarck Global Neighbors has been a really important organization in our community for years now. They've recently started this thrift store, and they're going to tell you about kind of their journey through starting the enterprise as part of this program. So let's hear it for Jasmine and Mandy.
Thank you. Ooh-wee. Those lights are bright. Good golly. Okay, I'm going to stand over here. All right. That's all of us. We look so pretty, but I'll talk more about who we are. So our mission as global neighbors, and thanks for letting us come, but is to facilitate successful integration of new Americans and English language learners here in North Dakota. And so this is our beautiful staff currently. I think nobody's missing. Everybody's there. You did a good job on the slide, Jess. And so a lot of what we do, like if I had to synthesize it, I guess, would be sharing language, sharing culture, and also friendship with folks. And so we do that in 4 main ways. So we have 4 main pillars that we stand on. And the first one would be mentoring. And mentoring is huge. It is our foundational piece. Even if everything else fell away, we would still mentor. And that is actually how Global Neighbors was founded in 2015. Our founder, Leah Hargrove, was in Grand Forks, worked for Lutheran Social Services as like a case manager, kind of peer support for the foreign-born folks there. And then when they moved to Bismarck, she realized that there wasn't anything like that here in Bismarck. And so her and a group of friends got together and got Global Neighbors started, and it was based on mentoring. So local North Dakota, US-born folks doing life with folks from other places, getting to know their stories, who they are, helping them navigate the systems, Bismarck-specific systems, but also, you know, transportation and the DMV and you know, Walmart and how does housing work, all of those kind of things. And so mentoring is a big piece. We still do that to this day. We have opportunities for you to mentor for either 3 to 6 months. We also have a youth program now, and we have youth mentoring as part of that program as well. So that's a fun kind of way to get involved. We'll answer questions and we'll about this, but I'd say if you want to ever get involved with the work that Global Neighbors is doing, starting out as volunteering and kind of then in that space is always the best way. Plus, you get to eat great food and learn about fantastic people. So. And then integration is our casework. So that is kind of, you know, employment, housing, healthcare navigation, helping folks open bank accounts, childcare, kind of all the actual, you know, nitty-gritty things that you need to know about living in a place, as well as English language learning and classes too. And then advocacy. So advocacy looks a little, can look a little different, or I guess comes in many different ways. But sometimes life in the US doesn't go as planned. Shocker, no one is shocked by that. But that means then that we need community partners, we need local service providers, we need other services and other people in the community to help either like support what we're doing or to support our clients directly. So advocacy can look like, you know, writing to our city and state representatives, right, about things that are going on in immigration or advocating for, language access. That's a big one. If anyone loves writing letters, write a letter about language access, please. Because it's a big barrier. Folks can't speak the language or are trying to learn, but then are not given the tools. And so a lot of our advocacy piece is working with community partners, working with our clients to kind of overcome some of those barriers for transportation, for health, for education. So it also looks like then advocating directly for our clients, like individually for each person, if they're having an issue with SNAP, if there's an issue with their landlord, then we make sure that they have a case manager and interpretation to make sure that we can get that taken care of too. So, and then also it looks like, schools as well, like the education system is big, so partnering with BPS and MPS and our parents and the kids to make school successful for everybody involved. And then community is all the fun stuff, like all of our events, it's all of our like community get-togethers. So we host a bunch of things. I'd say you should for sure come to a Taste of Home if you haven't already. We started them last year. They're fun, just community gatherings. Traditionally, a church has hosted it, but any community person can host one. That's just where we started. But for each one, we have a cook from a different part of the world create an authentic meal. It's open to the public. We all get to sit down, share that meal, hear their story, but also the stories of other folks in that community. So those have been so fun. We've met so many new people, or even folks that have been here a while that we didn't know were here. And so those have been great. We have 12 of them this year, so you'll have plenty opportunity. Please invite somebody to them. We have Guatemala, we have African, Ukrainian, Pakistani, we have a Puerto Rican one coming up. We have a German night, and there's 2 other cuisines I'm forgetting. But those are really fun. And then we also have things like, which we started last year, we'll do it again this year, is like big community celebrations like International Fest, which will be in Mandan at Dijkstuen Park. And so that's also another way to get connected. We always have what's coming up on the website and on the Facebook. So follow us there, because my brain cannot remember it all. And so this year, kind of with that as a foundation, is a year of radical growth. So my co-director, Leah, moved to Maine. And so it's been kind of a year of transition, but also a great year of growth, which has been fun. So refugee resettlement supports. I always say that we are in the business of welcoming, and that is our job, is to welcome and to welcome well. And so refugee resettlement does continue. Here we are expecting 40 individuals from South Africa to arrive over the course of 2026. So far we've had 5 families arrive already, and so we're expecting several more families yet to come. And so we support them for sure in the first 90 days, finding accommodation, helping them get jobs, set up all their legal kind of stuff. But in addition to us continuing to resettle, we've also seen an increase in secondary migration. And that is folks that started out in another state. We've seen a lot from Texas and Florida lately, but they maybe started in those states, and then they're now moving to North Dakota, moving to Bismarck specifically it is not for the weather. I was about to say for the climate, but no, who are we kidding? Okay, that is not it. But there are jobs, there's opportunity, Bismarck, Mandan is safe, especially in relation to a lot of the places that they're coming from. And so we've actually seen a lot of increased need from folks that are coming from other states to our state and then need support and help and services and navigating the system, which those things are both great and we love them, we welcome it, I'm super excited for it. But since we have a loss of funds with federal funding cuts, we lost about 50% of our budget, which is a big deal. That's definitely kind of a point of like need for us, is to not only to figure out like donations and increasing that, but also just kind of fun, kind of out of the box ways too, to raise funds to continue to do the work that we do, because the work has just gone up. We just have a lot more work, and there's a lot more needs. And so one of our challenges as a nonprofit is always going to be funding, but we're also open to fun, out-of-the-box ideas. And then local programming demands, a lot because of the increase in resettlement, increase in secondary migration, and then our funding cuts. It has put a lot more demand on our programs in terms of the number of clients that we're serving in those programs, but even like just staffing wise, to make sure that we have enough staff, but also enough volunteers to make sure that we are doing a great job of welcoming, which is what we're in the business of. And so because of all of those things, we had a brilliant idea, and we said, well, why don't we start a thrift store? And first, it was going to just be a used furniture store, mostly because I did not want to deal with sorting through clothes and stuff. I was not feeling that motivated. And then we thought, actually, it really should be a thrift store. And we should maybe hire somebody awesome to do it. That is not me, and that has capacity for it. And so then we thought, boutique thrift store, that's the vibe, that is what we're going for. And so that is what Mandy is building. And I do want to say a huge thank you here to Tyler, even though there's still some information that he hasn't sent me, that he should have been sent me. But I'll leave that alone. Tyler, send me my stuff. But I do want to say a huge, huge thank you to the small business, North Dakota Small Business Development Center, because kind of when we were dreaming about this, we had lots of questions, but also questions about, can it work? What else is in the community? Is it even a viable idea? It's a fun idea, but is it a viable one? Is it sustainable? Kind of what things do we have to have in place? And so I do want to say a huge, huge thank you to Tyler for your time and your effort, and for answering all our 50,000 questions and answering the same questions again, because I forgot. And then I will hand it over to Miss Mandy.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. So this is going to be shocking, but this is my first time ever public speaking. So hi. I'm fine. Okay. So Jasmine hired me, and I'm so grateful for that. I came from 14 years in a trucking industry as a correctional officer to creating this amazing thrift store that helps people that deserve help, right? And so what Wendy, oh, hello.
Oh, hello.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. So what this amazing part-timer has done is she's called us now the Thrifties. So we are creating t-shirts for people to come in and purchase. And the big goal of this thrift store is to be unique. You walk in, you question, is this actually a thrift store? Because it's clean, it's organized, and then people come in and say,
but your prices are so low. And I'm like, yeah, because it's a thrift store. But people just can't seem to understand that yet. Over the last week, we've had every day numerous people coming in. How haven't I heard of you? How haven't I heard of you? So I think a lot of people just haven't heard of us because to advertise costs a lot of money, right? So it's been people talking. And the store's kind of hidden in this corner. So last week, we actually have a sign on the parkade. It's smaller than I wanted, but eventually it'll blow up to be large and bright. We do not only help clients for global neighbors. A lot of homeless people come in, and especially during cold times, the homeless people coming in who hadn't had a coat or gloves or a hat, I would just tell them, choose one. Because that's why I'm there, is to help whoever comes in that has to have help. But the clients have the amazing opportunity to get what we call vouchers. And so clients who are coming in can come in. I just purchased a cart and choose home goods, clothing, coats, a couch, a table and chairs. Second Home's purpose is to help our clients create home here. And we want them to have quality stuff, clean stuff. I sort through a lot of stuff, and I don't want people to come in and think that I'm handing them trash. So quality stuff is really important, and pricing it correctly is also really important, because the bigger part of it is community coming in to shop, to purchase from us, to provide funds to help Jasmine, to help the store thrive. And so I've tried creating some really cool events. Like the one Saturday, there was a hot cocoa bar and Zumba, and I've had coffee bars, and I have huge plans for the spring and the summer. So if you haven't already, follow our Facebook page. We also currently have a contest for this guy.
Yes.
And he has a friend. We don't have a picture of her up here. But the contest is, what do I call them? Because I talk to them every day. I should call them something. So I've had a lot of people put titles on there. And so whoever I choose gets a $10 coupon to our store. The other thing we do is Fridays, Wendy hops on Facebook, and she does our Friday Live at 5. And if you have never watched it, you will smile, you will laugh, you will see it changes in the store. Her and I have realized we don't like to keep things the same for very long, so it changes a lot. So people coming in that have come in prior don't have to be like, it looks the same, because it's always changing. And so we really want to keep it interesting and keep people curious and wanting them to keep coming in. And it doesn't hurt that we're connected to a cafe. So the store always smells fantastic, right? I think I covered everything.
I think you have one more
Right?
slide. You have one more slide.
Oh, I do have another slide. I'm sorry.
The
I
hours.
did it my first time. Okay, so the store is open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6. People can drop off donations from 11 to 5. The only issue we've had with that is we share the alleyway with another thrift store. So I've had to really watch people who have called me who are coming in, because they will often just drop off at the other thrift store. And so I've had to go outside and be like, it's me, I'm down here. But yeah, and then you don't really have to schedule the donation. If you could just call me a half an hour to an hour prior, that would be great. And ways to get involved. So obviously, bring your household stuff, your clothes, the stuff that has use still for clients or community members. You can also volunteer with us. You can donate to us. We actually have an Amazon wish list on Global Neighbors page that you can use to do clothing. clothing racks or shoe racks or just things to help us keep it pretty and organized. If anybody's feeling really generous, we get a lot of requests for delivery or pickup, and we don't have a truck to do that with. So it's very hard to offer that. So if anybody has an extra truck just laying around and you wanted to donate it, I'd be happy to take it off your hands. Or as we continue to grow, the store is pretty small. So we don't have a lot of room to keep things before pricing it. So we've been looking into getting a storage unit that we could put stuff in and then bring it to the store. But again, that also costs. And so if anybody wants to maybe contribute to that fund as well, we would gratefully accept that.
Oh.
And then it's Jasmine's turn again.
Oh, yeah. Volunteer training. So this is where I said it's probably the fastest and easiest way to get involved. But we do volunteer training the last Saturday of every other month. So the next one is coming up in March. You can come to multiple of these trainings. They are not cumulative. Each one kind of teaches something different, so you feel equipped. And then if you are at all interested in mentoring, then we would have a separate conversation after that. But I would encourage you for sure, come to these trainings. They're a lot of fun. You learn a lot. I lead it, and Jess is usually always there to tell you guys the things that I forgot. And then Taste of Homes, like I mentioned, these are the next ones coming up. So we have 2 in March and then 2 in April. And so we would love for you guys to join us. They are on our Facebook page, also on our website. And as we get closer to them, we also make sure we send out emails, make sure that our community partners know as well. So if you're not on the email list, that would be a good place to get started. But this is the next 4 that are coming up. And then the Global Gala, actually I should have had Jess talk about that one. But with the Year of Growth, we're going to be hosting a super fun Global Gala. What did you say the theme was? Global Radiance. Okay, I knew it was global something. We have a lot of global going on. But it's going to be super fun, super exciting. Come, purchase a ticket. Come dressed in your funnest, most colorful clothes to help us raise funds for the next year. It'll be a Filipino-inspired dinner. And some fun surprises for our folks that get VIP tickets. So you definitely want to make sure that you grab your tickets, and or your business or organization can also sponsor the gala, and Jess will have more information on that. And then International Fest, which this year will be June 27th at Dijkshoen Park. It will also be on the website. But you can, it's a lot of cultural booths, a lot of informational booths on, based on various cultures. We're going to have food trucks there. I think Puerto Rican, we have German, we have Mexican, so it's a large variety. But there are also opportunities to sponsor International Fest, or to have international booths there too, like international tables. And so if you're interested in that part of it, Jess will have more information on the sponsorships, but for the artisan market and interactive workshops, just let me know and I can give you more information on that. And I think that is it. Time for questions.
Let's hear it from Andy and Jess. Andy and Jess. All right, so we will start our Q&A session. Jess is going to join us on stage as well. Do you mind scooting down one, ladies? Jess and I are going to have to share a microphone. Joe is on the mic mug, so if you have a question, raise your hand, and Joe will get that in your hand. I'll get us started off here. Just want to, first with Bismarck Global Neighbors, and I'm sure we're going to get into the thrift store as well. But so Bismarck Global Neighbors started And the primary part of it was that mentorship program,
Yep.
right? And it's expanded into all these other directions since then. I'm just curious, what does that process look like of a lot of learning took place through that mentorship program, seeing the gaps in the community of resources that refugees and immigrants might need? How does that process work of what Bismarck Global Neighbors takes on versus what are we partnering with resource partners versus what is just something that we can't do right now but it's on the wish list? Can you talk into that a little bit about how that's evolved?
You want to do that? Oh, no, you go ahead. Okay. Oh, goodness. I'm just trying to, yeah, I don't know. I was going to say, like, we've grown. We do so much stuff now. I think the core of it, or like the core of growth and why we do what we do, is kind of what you said, is noticing the gaps or seeing where our folks are struggling. And not just our folks, as in our refugees and immigration and immigrants, but also the feedback from the community of like schools, of individual people, of organizations being like, hey, we're seeing more Chuukese families. Can you, do you have resources? Do you have stuff to help us? Or, hey, we've noticed, more Hispanics people coming into the office or seeking our services. Can you help? And so I think it's grown kind of naturally that way. And so a lot of it is partnering with local communities. If there's somebody already doing it, I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel. So if the Dream Center is doing a great job, they have great programs, and we partner with them a lot, then that's kind of how we come in is, hey, how can we help you? How do you help the community? And then making those connections happen. So I would always say, when in doubt, come to us first. And then we can make those connections to, oh, you need therapy. We are not therapists, but these are the therapists we know in the community. This is how we can assist them in making sure there's language access. So a lot of it is partnering with folks that are already doing great work here, and then making sure that they know we exist and the resources we can provide, or if they have an issue, then partnering with them to meet those needs.
Yeah, and the piece I was going to share is, so we started out as mentoring, and I'm still new to North Dakota. I'm coming up on 2 years here, so I'm repeating some story here. But we stayed mentoring, and really when our office just boomed and took off is when Lutheran Social Services shut down. We took over. They were the refugee resettlement arm, and my understanding is that just kind of closed overnight, and so there were all of these clients that needed support, and so we stepped up and got certified to do that. But when we stepped into that refugee space, as you can imagine, a lot of our resources, they had to pivot, and they had to pivot fast, and they had to pivot hard into getting supports for people. And that's where we've lived, I feel like, really heavily the last 3 years. And so when I came, I have no North Dakota roots. I don't have grandparents here. I have kids. I had to figure out childcare, all of those things, as an American that understands American systems. But there's a lot of things in North Dakota that you just need a North Dakota grandma to get you plugged in and tell you what's up. And so when I came on staff coming up on a year ago, we started having these discussions of, we talk all the time about the benefit to newcomers that are coming here, but there's an equal benefit to North Dakotans that are here to get to learn about other cultures. And also North Dakota culture is like really rich. It's really deep. I've been meeting with the Sons of Norway and the Germans from Russia and all of these other groups. And we want to celebrate those cultures as well. And a fun story I tell is we do have a lot of folks that, for refugees, they're just told where they're going. They were approved to come to America, and they said, great, you're going to North Dakota. And so when they come here, for the folks that are in that position, they think like Americans are Norwegian in like some aspect, because that's all they know, that's all they see. And so we started having these conversations of how do we talk to the benefit of local North Dakotans. You might have seen, did anybody see the community Spanish class we're starting to offer? That we've been marketing out, it's full. However, like I feel like that went as viral as a nonprofit North Dakotan Facebook post could go. And so that's something we're planning to continue, to bridge between learning about all these cultures that are here, including the North Dakota one.
Yeah, if I give a shout out for the mentorship program. So I had the opportunity to mentor two gentlemen through Bismarck Global Neighbors, a young man from Senegal, and then did another 6-month stint with a young man from DRC, from Democratic Republic of Congo. And like with anybody who's mentored or been in a mentee-mentor relationship, there's so much learning that goes both ways. It really is like I got at least as much out of that as Joel or Bakunzi did, and and the way Bismarck Global Neighbors makes it very accessible and safe and sets up the structure for you to have a good relationship is really valuable. So thank you for offering that. And if anybody is interested in mentorship and what that experience is like, I'd be happy to talk with you and answer any questions you have. Probably these ladies can do it a lot better than I can. But okay, interesting. So the thrift store came up, and I'm just curious, like when any brick and mortar business, they talk about, working in a business versus working on a business. For any brick and mortar business, working in a business, there's 3 things you're looking at: sales, cost of goods sold, and variable labor expense. Right? That's what you're trying to manage when you're working in a brick and mortar business. Thrift store kind of tips this on its head because you're crowdsourcing your product, so there's no cost of goods sold there. You're managing some volunteer staff and some paid staff, so your variable labor expense is an interesting kind of out of the box approach there too. In this first year that you've been open, first 6 months or so that you've been open, what are the biggest lessons learned so far, and where have you kind of pivoted off those lessons learned?
When we first opened the store, we didn't have anything. We didn't have any racks, display, nothing. And I worked really hard to find free stuff or very, very cheap stuff. And I found how you present it really helps it to sell. It really does. People want to feel like happy and worthy coming into a store. And if you walk into a store and it's cluttered and it's dirty and it's crabby employees, you're just going to turn around and walk back out. So I do try to talk to them all. We conversate a lot with everybody. And I have went above all projections. And even though I literally had no idea what I was doing, I literally came in with a leap of blind faith. And it has been provision after provision after provision, and it's great.
Yeah, so when you see you've gone above projected sales so far,
Yeah.
you're over budget right now.
Yes.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Which is good. I'd say from my point of view, it's make sure you hire the right people, I guess, in those positions. Not that it's easy, but I will say, like, Mandy was the perfect fit for that, and so I haven't had, obviously I still have like high-level oversight, but it has definitely been a godsend to have somebody who can, pay attention to the budget, that I can be like, this is the projections, who's, monitoring that stuff and doing it well, and then also coming up with ideas and pushing the vision forward in ways that I didn't see or I can't, just capacity-wise. So I think hiring was maybe the biggest lesson in this for me.
I'm just sitting in the fundraising seat over here. But what's also interesting about flipping it on its head is it's still a nonprofit, right? And so we talked a lot with Seeds of Hope. They are who we share the alleyway with, and they did a lot of mentoring and sharing of resources and lessons and things. But the other thing, like from my seat, is I've fundraised in a couple different states for a variety of nonprofits, and I've never had a thrift store. Like that's just not been on my portfolio of options to give people. But I feel like it kind of falls in the same capacity of when I fundraise, people just want to help, and they have a lot of different ways that they can do that. And sometimes that's with money, and sometimes it's with time. And with the thrift store, I'm always flabbergasted every time. I probably walk to the thrift store maybe once a week. And Mandy will be like, oh, and somebody gave me this new shelf, and like, oh, and now we have these mannequins, and now we have and it's just people being very gracious. And then we started having a conversation of like, oh, we have a big group that wants to volunteer. Oh, they can paint all of our stuff, and now everything will be bright colored and themed. And so giving people the opportunity, and that's been an interesting message to sell as a thrift store, right? That we are still a nonprofit, and kind of explaining like, what do you guys do? Oh, wait, so I can help in this way, and oh, it helps these people, and that's been kind of fun to dip my toes into and learn more about.
Yeah. So I'm hearing what you're saying here. I mean, there's kind of two pieces to this, that it's almost a rebrand of what you're talking about, Mandy. It's a mission-driven boutique more than it is a thrift store, and
Correct.
that I like that pivot. That's fantastic. We have a question here.
Right. First, thank you for everything that you're doing. I guess my question would be is what type of clothes do you need like right now, or will you need in the spring and the summer? And then I'm like 5'9", and I've got a lot of clothes in my closet, so I'm just kind of wondering, is that going to work?
That's fantastic. So we get a lot of women's clothes, obviously. So we're running low on a lot of children's clothing, especially toddler and younger, but all clothes, because even the stuff that I don't think people would wear, people will still buy. So just clean clothes, please clean them first, and then just hole-free and jeans for sure for guys, yeah. Yep.
I just wanted to share a story. We own a rental property, and we worked with Leah on housing some of the refugees, and they still live there since 2024. So coming up on 2 years, but it was just a cool experience being able to provide safe housing for them. That was really important, and they were all able to stay together. And I just remember we brought them a few random things that we didn't want just to decorate and stuff, and one of them was a sign that said anything is possible, and we had the translator there, and they translated, and the mom and dad just started crying and gave us a hug, and they were just very, very appreciative. But without, nonprofits like you, I don't think we would have gotten connected and been able to do that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. And that, I think, is a good, it's funny, you find a way to provide value. It's similar to the work we do at the SBDC, not to make this about us, but you provide value in some way, but really you're a connector. People are coming to you, you're building relationships, and that's probably, like us, it's the same thing. The bulk of what we provide is trying to connect folks to other people and other resources. And I want to talk about the logistics and delivery piece you mentioned. Like, could you have somebody delivering things on your behalf? Like, if you didn't have a truck to donate, but I have a truck, and I have a 23-year-old and 19-year-old, so they're moving like every 6 months. So I'm pretty much a professional mover at this point. Shout out to John Berger, who I think is in the room. John helps a lot moving my kids too. But is that something that you could do? I don't know what any liability or
So especially at times that clients come, it's usually a couch, a table and chairs, beds, household stuff. So even if we had a group or 2 people that it's almost an on-call type of a situation, because they don't usually tell us way ahead of time. And so that's the hard part, is it's usually a 3 o'clock Tuesday. And it's hard to find people who can just come and take it over there.
on short notice like that?
Yeah.
We do have to give a shout out to Rick Chapa at Quality Movers. So he has been just a saint to come in, and he's offered to. I think we're still working out the logistics, because it's a new partnership for us. But he's offered once a month to just have his guys move. So if we have folks that we know, like they've got furniture, or like they're redoing a room or something like that, we can say like, oh, okay, the first Tuesday of the month, like let's get you on the list. And if you're okay waiting, then Rick and his guys will show up and they'll take care of that for you. And that's been really great. But also, like, if we have folks that want to move stuff now, then we also try to give out the Quality Movers cards that we have, so people can also call in. And that's been really great, because that's liability we don't have to take on, right? At this time.
Another question over here.
So can you share your favorite story of like integration to North Dakota, or how you've helped, or just a quick anecdote?
Goodness, there's so many good stories. I guess I can share my story, because that way I know I won't mess it up. I won't mess up any of the details. But I'm originally from Zimbabwe, and so when I came, I went to school in Switzerland for my first degree in hospitality management. As part of that degree, I had to do an 18-month internship anywhere in the world. At that point, I'd worked in Africa, I'd worked in Europe, and then I'd also met a boy from America online. And so I thought, well, let me try the US. And so I actually did my first 18 months in Massachusetts, and then when we decided to get married, I moved here. I picked Massachusetts mostly because, according to the map, the two states were very far away from each other, and so I figured if he was crazy, he'd have to, trek for hours to come and find me. We got married. He turned out to be crazy, but by then I had already stayed. I'd already fallen in love with the place, and so even though we got divorced, I stayed. But I will say, even from my own story, and Zimbabwe was colonized by the British, so when I came, I spoke the Queen's English, and so language was less of a barrier for me. But I was also in Massachusetts, and I'm pretty sure people in Boston don't speak English. So I don't know what they were saying, but I said their mouths are moving and they're saying words, and I'm never coming to Boston again. But I know the biggest game changer for me, which I've also seen then in the folks that we serve in North Dakota, has been that mentorship piece. It's been having somebody to walk you through, somebody to have a friend outside of, just work or just school. And I know in the first 3 or 4 months I moved here, because the food was so different. I mean, everything tastes different. Everything is different. I lost 40 pounds, I think, in those first 4 months. And a coworker realized that I was struggling a bit, and so she very graciously kind of took me under her wing and said, hey, let's go to the store together. Her goal was to let me know how the store worked and figure out the aisles, but she just came alongside me. My first 4th of July, my first Thanksgiving, my first Labor Day, all of that. She invited me to participate in those with her family, and that was huge. And I'd say that's the same thing that I see in North Dakota too, for our folks, is that when local North Dakotans, when U.S. residents take interest in them and just do life with people, that is by far the biggest game changer. Even if, especially for our moms, even to be like, hey, let's go for coffee, or hey, let's have an adult conversation, or with summer, let's help you figure out where the parks are, or how the how the swimming pools and stuff work is huge. It's really been, I think that's my favorite part, is when I see that. It's really that, finding a connection that helps you feel grounded and helps you feel actually this can be home. Oh, that huge risk that I took to leave everything behind, to move, in my case, on my own, or to move my entire family. That resilience, that perseverance to see oh, this place can be home and I can be part of something, I think is definitely my favorite part.
And just a quick client story. So I was just going to everything when I started so I could better understand the mission. My background's in education. I'm always in it for the kids and the mamas. I got a 5-year-old and a 6-month-old at home. But we had a women's empower group. We had a lot of women here that moved here and their husbands are working full-time, but they're at home and they've got language barriers, and you're just not supposed to raise your kids in isolation. Anyway, so we started this women's group, and they'll do things like art classes, or it's just a group of women gathering, and for some of them that's the one time that they're kind of leaving the house that week to go be with other women. But I attended one. We were doing an art class at that one, and there's women there that were speaking Spanish, that were speaking Ukrainian, that were speaking French. So there's some barriers there, but they started talking and they still had that community, and they found out that one of them, excuse me, had a birthday coming up on Friday, and they were like, oh, what are you doing for your birthday? And she was like, nah, nothing. And they were like, what do you mean nothing? We are all going out together. And so they all went out and got Mexican food, and that's when I know programs are working, right? This group of women was able to bond and have community just with each other.
Fantastic. One last audience question before our last question of the morning.
I'm so excited because this is Candace, and I see two of my friends that I didn't know were going to be here. I know. And I just actually, all my questions have been answered they really have, but I just want to say thank you to the three of you for being just those hands and feet that serve our community and do it with such joy. And, it's just so important to have people that can go to the places that I don't have time to go. So I just want to say thank you and for the wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
All right, well, we are up to our last question of the morning, ladies, so thank you so much for taking the time and the important work you do in our community. But Joe is going to do the honors of our last question here.
Good morning. Thank you for your presentation and taking time to be here. So one of the last things we do every week is to ask, what can we as the 1 Million Cups community do to help support you?
For the thrift store, come and shop and bring me all of your amazing stuff.
Yeah. And then for Global Neighbors, I would say volunteer, get involved in the mentoring, but also, sponsor an event or come to an event or host an event for us. So I guess, from the Global Neighbor side, I'd be like, just get involved, get in where you fit in. There's lots and lots of opportunities, just one-time things that take more time, but just get involved, get on the list.
Yeah, and on the volunteering side, mentoring is our core. However, if you have a gift that you really have Friday afternoons and you want to come help us do some office tasks, shoot me a message and we'll get you plugged in. There's a lot of one-off experiences you can have as well. Or if you want to just meet some new international friends, we have some coffee groups and things that they would love to have Americans there to practice some syntax and things with. So there's a lot of ways that you can get involved, and we'll talk about those at the volunteer trainings if you want to come to that. But I think that's the biggest way. Come to an event, help us kind of spread the word. Reach out to Mandy if you've got thrift store questions, and I'm always up for a coffee.
Awesome, ladies. Well, thank you so much for the time this morning, for the important work you do. You're making our community better. Thank you so much. So let's hear it from our team from Bismarck Global Neighbors. Thank you. All right, well, we do have one kind of bittersweet announcement today. I think we've hinted at this, but Adam Kampanick, who's a core member of our team at 1 Million Cups here, has been with us for 8 years. I think if there's one person that has made this program what it is, and you can have your own opinion on what this program is exactly, but we're pretty darn proud of it, it's Adam. Adam is he's in our tech booth up there. He's our tech guru. He works with very B squad tech people like myself and Lakin and Noah up there who are doing an awesome job too. He is moving to Minneapolis. So Adam is one of the most resourceful, smartest, and just best people I know. If you ever had a chance to work with him, I know you'd feel the same way. But we're losing him to Minneapolis this month. Just Adam, thank you so much for everything you've done for our program. You're like everything you touch, you're leaving it much better than you found it and leaving us in a really good spot with our tech booth. So can we please give a big round of applause for Adam Kampanick and the work he's done here. Okay, with that, coming up here at 1 Million Cups, we have Nomi Promo. Our own Ashley Woolidge is going to be talking about her marketing efforts with Nomi Promo. Amber and Trevor Hendrickson with Patriot Nutrition after that on March 11th. And then Sheriff is going to be back on March 18th. He's going to give an update on inclusive staffing. So Sheriff has previously spoken on this stage, and he's done a bunch of good things with his staffing agency. He's going to be giving an update there. Here's all our social media links and ways to keep in the loop on what's going on at 1 Million Cups. If you or anybody you know is interested in presenting, there's the email address up there to send presenter inquiries to. We're booked almost through July this year, which is fantastic. So if you do want to get on stage, you better reach out because 2026 is booking up very fast. So I think that is all we have for you this week. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you to Bismarck Global Neighbors, and let's make it a great rest of the week.
Awesome, thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah, likewise.
Before I lose it.
You did great. Yeah, you did pretty well, so yeah.
Oh yeah, I suppose you don't want us to take these.